Alright guys, so we're here at the world famous IT park. We're at Avita Tower. Island Mall is right behind me. Today in the video I'm going to be discussing the property bubble. Will it burst in the Philippines? Will it not burst? It's an interesting discussion that's going on online, and there's a lot of controversy. So for me, a lot of the guys that I see talking about it, first off, they don't state their credentials. Who are these guys? What kind of market experience do they have? What kind of market knowledge? We don't know, because from what I see, people are just throwing out their thoughts and opinions. Well, a dog can give me his opinion, and it doesn't mean anything because it's a dog. It has no experience in this version of the world. So for me, I've been trading markets since I was about 18 years old. I'm 35 now. You can do the math. I've been involved in property management. I've been involved in real estate markets in the United States and in Asia, both in Thailand and the Philippines. I've rented both long-term and short-term out to guests. So I think that it stands to reason, since I know a little bit more than the average person about property markets, that I need to do a video like this to kind of give my 2 cents into the bucket, my contribution about what I think this market's going to do. So for me, what I see in the Philippines is obviously one thing we can all agree on: overdevelopment of towers. Okay, in a video that I watched the other day, the gentleman said that there were 5 new towers that just came online this year in BGC. Meanwhile, if you look out in the towers in BGC or Makati at night, maybe, if you're lucky, 25% at max of the lights are on, meaning everybody else is gone or they're vacant, which means that the owners are just paying for an empty space, or more likely the developers are still holding the units. So we have to work our way up the chain of what is actually going on here logically. Okay, why, if 25% of the lights are on in BGC or Makati or in Cebu, why are they building more towers? They being the developers, and the developers are of course regulated by the government, so the government is involved too. Okay, my opinion with this whole thing is that the property bubble should burst, and it most likely will burst, but the question is, will it? Because Philippine markets are not like markets in the West or in Australia. Okay, in Australia, in the UK, in the United States, you have banks, and then you have appraisers that go out and value property. They set a value on the property. These appraisers are, you can find corrupt appraisers, but most of them are not corrupt. They're sworn in by the government to give accurate pricing and valuations. So there is a valuation placed on the market, if you will. In the Philippines, I can't really speak on Thailand in terms of valuations because I never looked at buying in Thailand. But I do know in the Philippines, there's no such thing as an appraiser. In the Philippines, it's actually called a valuer. They do exist at a commercial level when you're dealing with banks, but when you're dealing with them, for the most part, with residential space, especially in towers, there's no appraisal, there's no valuation set. So what this creates is a market where who is right and who is wrong on an ask, buy, and sell. Okay, so if I say my property is worth 10 million pesos and you say you only want to buy it for 5 million pesos, well, who's right and who's wrong? Because there's no certified authority that's sworn under the government to provide this accurate information and appraise the unit. So this creates a market of buyers and sellers, that who can sell the property, who can do what, unless they find a buyer. The buyer doesn't want to buy because he can't find a seller to meet his price point or her price point. And this creates a very dynamic, strange, bizarre, cloudy kind of marketplace. It's also exciting in a lot of ways because you're kind of biting your fingernails. You don't know what to expect. Will prices go up or down? So for me, I believe that the bubble will burst, but I believe that this bubble is going to be a hard bubble to burst, and I will explain why. The Philippines has notably, and all countries, I don't want to just single out the Philippines, all countries globally, governments have been noted for corruption. Okay, but when you don't have a checks and balances situation in place where you're getting appraised value on property, especially individual units, the whole tower could be appraised, but the individual units themselves are not. So when you have no appraisal system in place to place a specific value on a property, appraiser, valuer going off of raw data to give you this hard number that's certified, we don't know what it's worth. This creates a situation where buyers can ask whatever they want and sellers can make whatever kind of offer they want. So for me too, I think with the corruption globally and also in the Philippines, perhaps, I don't know, but perhaps the governments are in on this and so are the developers, and this entire tower thing has become nothing more than a giant money laundering operation. It's a proven fact that property is one of the most favorite ways for money launderers, we're talking about criminals here, money launderers, to launder their money is in property. Property is great, it's clean, you can put a lot of money into it. These guys are making big money laundering money, breaking the law, and boom. By the way, side note on money laundering and crime, if fraud and money laundering were in its own economy, it would be the 5th biggest economy in the world. So that's huge. Just to give you an idea, I think it's right behind France. Just to give you an idea of the amount of money that's involved in the money laundering space right now. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, it's not the 5th biggest economy in the world, it's the 3rd biggest economy in the world. I misspoke. So think about that for a second. If you have a lot of money launderers globally that are breaking the law, they're laundering gambling proceedings, drug proceedings, their human trafficking proceedings, prostitution proceedings. They have to have a place to put their dirty money. Where are they going to put their dirty money? Well, of course, they're going to put it in real estate. And if they put it into real estate, which they typically do, they're going to go to the easiest countries where it's easiest to build, easiest to get in the pockets of the government for the lowest price, right? They all want to save money. They're not going to come and build in the United States, more than likely, because it's more difficult to get in the pocket